joining in with us today. I'm here with my really good friend, Chelsea Lochner. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and sit down with Chelsea because, as some of you know, we were able to do a women's retreat recently. And some of you actually were able to attend the retreat, but maybe you didn't get to hear Chelsea's talk because I only let you view 2 out of the 4, which I know is so unfair and unkind. So we're going to take a few minutes and just kind of go into that so that you can see that. And then for some of you who weren't able to attend, and that's okay too, but I really feel like this topic that Chelsea spoke on is so important that we wanted to document some of the highlights from it and just so that we could hear her story and hear what the Lord has done in and through her and her journey of where she is right now. And I just wanted, it's just so powerful. I wanted us to have a time for you to be able to hear that and to see how God is showing up in major ways, and that it may build your faith and it may strengthen your vision of who God is and how He finds beauty and shows us beauty in our brokenness. And so just to give you a little background on Chelsea, she and I have been really good friends for a while now. She is a faithful daughter of God. She is the mother of 2 adorable little babies, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and has an amazing husband and a solid marriage. And so she's and her husband are really good friends of ours, and we've walked through a lot of life together. And so been able to watch her walk through the topic she's going to talk on, and just really excited for you guys to get to hear from her. She also is just a really strong servant in our church. She works with high school students and has a heart and a love for students, and she has a counseling background and a social worker degree and a counseling degree that allows her to have the knowledge and the knowledge base to really meet people where they are and to kind of see through some of the things that they're struggling with and to help them find where God is at work. And so it's just a really cool skill that she's just very natural and creative with using to just love on people and to show them the love of God. So today she's going to be talking to us for a few minutes about the topic of beauty in the brokenness. So Chelsea, why did you choose to speak on this? Out of all the topics out there that you could have picked, why this one?
That's a loaded question. So mostly it was because God asked me to do that. We're in the middle of a broken season in our family. Just extraordinarily pieces shattered everywhere in my family. And because of that, I don't know if that's why God said, hey, I want you to talk about this or what. But in doing so, it was very clear He wanted me to talk about beauty in the brokenness, not afterwards. Not like, in hindsight, everything's 20/20 and then we can see why God did what He did and why He allowed things and how we grew and all this sort of stuff. No, in the heart of despair, where is the hope? I feel like is what He wanted me to talk about. And in doing so, I happen to be in that season. So I think He really just wanted me to be candid about processing that with Him and with my family and what it looks like, to find beauty in brokenness.
It's good because I think we can always see it after we've put the pretty bow on it, after it's all been wrapped up, like you said, the hindsight that we then can see very clearly of where God was in the middle of it. And I think that relates to all of us. I think many of us have been able to look back in life and see in our broken times where God was, but it's finding it in the middle of it. And so I'm so glad that the Lord asked you to speak on that, and you had the courage to say yes and to share just very openly about, like you said, very candidly in the middle of the brokenness. And so just love for you to take a few minutes and share with us kind of a little bit of what you're going through, what your world looks like right now, and how you were able to find God's beauty in the season that you're walking through right now.
Yeah. It's so taboo to tell our stories like while we're walking through it because they don't have that pretty bow on them.
Right.
But I'm just going to break all that right now. I'm just going to get real. So get ready. So basically, my daughter she just recently turned 1 year old, and she's 1 year. That's a singular thing. 1. And so she just turned 1, and leading up to her first birthday, for about 3 months, she's really sick. Really, really bad ear infections, like pretty much a constant ear infection from the beginning of January to the end of March this year. And had to go through 6 courses of antibiotics, so her gut was all torn up. Also just had hearing loss, so everything we were saying sounded underwater to her, which is really sad. And then she also had all sorts of viruses and illnesses throughout, and is still struggling with that, and still struggling with a lot of gastrointestinal stuff. And yeah, it's been extremely difficult because I don't sleep. I get like 3 hours of sleep a night, and don't dare think that's consecutive. That is a fragmented 3 hours, 20 minutes at a time. Yeah, cumulative. So yes, it's been very difficult, and I find myself tired and exhausted and done and no patience, and that's just my daughter. So my son, he's 3. He's also hanging out around all the chaos. and he's just really not getting the parenting he needs in this stage of life, quite frankly, because I'm having to be so hands-on with my daughter. I can't necessarily, be the parent he needs in terms of corrective action and stuff like that. Just make sure he's making good choices all the time, and totally confess that I have used the iPad to be mom number 2, because it just is what it is in terms of dealing with my daughter right now in this rough season. And so he's testing limits. He's exhausted and tired because he's not sleeping well because she's crying, and he's just all messed up too. So there's this domino effect of chaos in our household. And it's so hard. My husband's gone during the day, just working really hard for us, and it's been super, super challenging. So all that to say, leading up to my daughter's first birthday, which was March 12th, like that week leading up, my son was really, really struggling, like just acting out more and more, becoming more and more defiant. I think because he knew her birthday was coming and knew that she was going to get attention, even though I did my best to make it feel like it was also his like celebration of him becoming a big brother. Like I really went above and beyond trying to make this good. And anyway, so on that day, he totally lost it on her birthday that morning. Just huge meltdown, epic. I don't know. I can't even remember exactly why or what happened, but just his room was a tornado after we sent him to timeout in there, and just, it was ugly. It was the ugly, where you're like, whoa. I didn't think that could come out of a 3-year-old human being, and it did, and it was awful. And my daughter didn't feel good. She's still in pain from the pressure in her ears, and she was struggling, and this was the last thing I wanted for my daughter for her birthday. I love celebrating things, and I was really looking forward to her just shoveling cake in her mouth and getting it all up her nose and just being adorable and cute and a mess. And I knew she wasn't going to enjoy it to the degree that like I really wanted her to. And so I was sad about that. I was grieving a little bit about that, and sad about my son, who's a total mess. I just want to pick him up and hold him and tell him I love him despite all his sin and difficulties. And I couldn't do it. So I'm like, in this moment, I'm so sad. And then I have to call and order pizza for my daughter's birthday party, which was literally just my parents, but I'm ordering pizza. And I wanted to change, I called and ordered it, and they said it would be ready in 15 minutes, and I needed to call back and say, can we pick it up in 45 minutes? So I call right back, and this was the end of it. The pizza guy, I said, hey, I just ordered the pizza, can we pick it up in 45 minutes instead of in 15? Right. And he very rudely told me, well, I'm gonna have to ask my manager because they're already in the oven, so hang on. And I was like, because I am not a person that typically causes conflict, and I was already having a rough day, and he doesn't put himself on mute, and he says to his manager, hey, Brandon, the idiots that just ordered that pizza want to know if they can get it later.
Awesome.
You want me to just tell them no? And I obviously I'm not over it, because it's quite an impression of this fella I just did. But
still heat in that story.
Still something I'm working on healing from. Need freedom. Anyway, so I'm frustrated, and in this moment, I'm so angry I can't even talk. Like my heart's beating fast. I'm so upset because my whole morning's been bad. And then the pizza guy calls me an idiot to his boss. And I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I am a hurting person. I'm just broken. It's so hard. And I can't even formulate sentences when the manager gets on. And I immediately am like, okay, this isn't going to work out. I just cancel the pizza, whatever, and move on to have a total meltdown in my kitchen. Is what happened. So my husband leaves to go get pizza and cake, and I stand in my kitchen, my daughter looking up at me as I just weep. I'm sobbing. I'm crying out to God. I'm like, God, why? Where are you? Where are you? I'm so tired. I'm so broken. I never sleep. My family's a wreck. I am done. And the pizza guy hates me. The pizza guy hates me. I can't do this. Like, just total broken down. And I'm telling you, I was saying it out loud. Like, my daughter's looking up at me. It's a good thing she like can't hear, because she probably would have been like, "What's wrong with mom?" But it was ugly, and it was definitely a moment where, in my tears, in my crying out, I was completely broken. I was desperate, and I cried out for God to meet me out loud. I said, just come meet me. Show me you're here. Show me you're tangibly here. I need a sign of your presence with me, because I can't do this anymore. I'm at my end. Like, you want me to continue having faith? You want me to continue believing that you're good? You better show up in a way that shows me you are good. You are real. You are with me. You are surrounding me. Like, total fight with God, which he loves for us to do. He loves for us to fight with him, because he knows our in and out already. So let's just be real with him, right? Mm-hmm. And so I do a real good job of that. So so that's what that looked like. And all that to say, God did meet me there in my brokenness. An hour later, a friend of mine on our front porch, she had left a gift, and she texted me and said, "Hey, I just left you a gift on your front porch for Lily's birthday." And so I go out and I open it up, and it's a book. And it's a book that my friends put together, and it was assembled with total love and prayers, and it was prayers written for me specifically about being Lily's mom, specifically about how to steward her well, how to love Skylar, just beautiful, beautiful sentiments that were directly from God and from these friends that love God. And not only did they give me this tangible gift, not only did they give me this huge, amazing, tangible gift, it was from my neighbors who are also tangibly surrounding me.
Right.
And so it's just amazing how God showed up and said, yes, I know. And he had gone before in that circumstance too, because this book was something my friend she was going to put together a year ago, like right after Lily was born for me. And she totally forgot. And then as time went by, she remembered, and she realized, oh, you know what, I'm just going to give that to her whenever it's her first birthday. So it's just amazing how there's nothing God doesn't use. And he met me in my moment of crisis, and my frustration and my hurt and my crying out to him. He said, I am with you, and I'm surrounding you with people and with love. And the verses that were in there were just amazing. So he has those nuggets for us in the breakdown. We just have to be willing to talk to him about it.
Right. That's good. And I know many of us may not have walked through those exact circumstances, but we have been in places where we are looking up to heaven saying, where are you?
Yes.
I have had the faith. I have experienced you in the past, but I'm doubting right now. Like, are you still good? Mm-hmm. Are you still in tune with me? Do you still see me? Because I don't feel you. I don't see you. And I don't know if you've checked out and bailed on me, because that's what it feels like. Yes. And so to when you're describing that was just a month and a half ago. Yeah. And we can all relate to that. I think we can all feel that, and it's just our love to just the fact that you pointed out that God had gone before, because the tangible gift of that book, she very well could have given that to you when Lily was a newborn, or a week into her life, when you're tired and maybe stuck it on a shelf. But God knew, no. I've got this, and this is a gift that Chelsea's going to need in a year. Yeah. In a year, she's going to need this because it's my words for her. It is my truth. It is my tangible representation that she's going to need later. So he's so good. Like, he's so good to know and to see ahead and say, oh, no, I'm going to meet you there before you even know you're going to need me then. Yeah. So that's good. So then what? So now where are you now? So that was a month and a half ago.
It was a month and a half ago, and that was amazing, right? God met me in that moment, and it carried me for 4 whole days, Angie. Because the rest of the story is, yes, there's more to this messy story. My husband is an incredible entrepreneur, and he's given an opportunity to start a business. He has a few different businesses he's in, mostly in real estate, but this was like a one-off thing that he got the opportunity to invest in and connect investors to this business. And essentially over the last 3 months, the same amount of time that my daughter's been sick, it's been slipping away. And my husband had to take it over, become CEO, try to save it. And around the same time, we found out basically and realized that we needed to let it go. we needed to let it die.
Yeah.
And what that means is that we're looking at, just to be real, again, we got to be real. It's about $150,000 worth
Wow.
of debt that we inherited. And it's not personal debt, it's in a company, but it's still going to set us back personally
Right.
because we want to honor our investors and be people of integrity and pay them the money that they need. So all that to say, we're dealing with that. And my husband's calling home upset and frustrated because he's trying to be just an incredible man of God to these people who basically stole from the company in different ways. And it's been very, very difficult. So we both, our respective jobs have not been pretty and easy. And we've been really, really put through it. And so those 4 days that I felt totally redeemed and free and alive in the spirit were beautiful. And then I found myself crying on the couch again. So my kids are eating food in the kitchen, amazing, because Lily never eats in this season. She just doesn't eat well. Yeah, she doesn't feel good. So they're eating, and here I am on the couch again, just crying, God, what are you doing? I'm so frustrated. Why can't something good just happen? I'm done. I don't want long suffering. I don't, and I feel God saying, just come to me, come talk to me about this, and so the things I open up to are James, the first chapter, the first few verses there. It says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. And I'm God, how much do you think I'm lacking? How immature am I? This is ridiculous. I'm so done. I don't want to consider it pure joy that I've got these trials. I don't want to. I don't have the energy. This is just not, no. Ooh. It's messy, right? And so I felt like God was keep reading. And in this same moment, one of my neighbors, again, texts me this verse. And it's a 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse, and it's very encouraging. And the whole book, actually, that chapter 4 is about just having faith in trials and difficult circumstances, finding joy in weakness, kind of. And so I read the whole book, and what spoke to me out of that, again, God's word is alive.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I read the Bible, I used to think this is God's story, and it's amazing I'm getting a history lesson on how people handled things in the past. But more recently, I've really realized it's my story. That I take on so many characters in the Bible, and my friends do too, and this is very much my story. So when I read it through that lens, I kind of I was enlightened. And so what I read, find it here, 2 Corinthians, it's 4:7, it says, but we have this treasure, meaning the light of God, in jars of clay, which is our fragile bodies. So we have God in our fragile bodies to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. So God just met me in this moment, and I really felt like he was no, I have been with you. I'm here. I'm still here. I've got you. Everything is okay because I'm here, hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. That was me. And I'm okay, that's awesome, God. I get it. I see it. I feel it. I am alive. And there's a reason for that. I know you have a purpose for me because I am not dead, because I am living. And I know that is true, but I'm still so tired.
Right.
So I'm still fighting with God. It's good revelation, but only to a degree, because I'm still in my flesh and sad and angry and tired. So tired. And so I keep reading. And it says in verses, that same chapter, 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18, it says, therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, and inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. And I'm okay, I get it. Okay, I fix my eyes on what is unseen. Okay, but it's really hard to do that when you look around and you just see your circumstance crumbling in every single side. So again, out of desperation, I just cry out to God, give me eternal vision, because I can't unsee what I have seen.
Right.
I can't let go of that. I can't find eternity on earth right now because I'm so frustrated and I feel so closed in and boxed in by hurt and brokenness and breakdown. I can't do it. And in that moment, I look up and he gives me eternal sight. And it was so good that he did that. I look up and I see my 2 kids, and they're beautiful and they're perfect. And in this moment, Lily's been sick for so long. In this moment, she is laughing and smiling, laughing like with her brother. They're laughing at each other and eating food. And I realize in this moment, that's an eternal gift. I didn't earn them. I didn't pay for them. I did nothing to deserve them. And they were gifted to me from a heavenly realm, like knit together by my good Father.
Yeah.
And so I realized like my hurts are stemming from things of this world that are unmet. But I have this heavenly understanding that the things of this world are not relevant when it comes to God. So those hurts, they're real and valid, but they don't get to be a stronghold of my heart anymore because God has already claimed victory in my heart. And so I was reminded of all of that. And it's all so messy, you know, and I see death in a whole new way in the circumstance that, you know, whenever we, like Christ's death, when we think about that, it brings me in this whole new understanding of sometimes death is necessary for there to be resurrection life, you know? And that's what's happening in our circumstance.
I love the picture of you sitting on the couch crying out to God because, you know, the word says multiple times, call unto me and I will answer you. Like that's a promise we can stand on. Jeremiah 33:3, call unto me and I will answer you. I think sometimes we just forget to call upon him. Or we wait till we're in the desperation mode of, I can't do this another second. And that's when we actually call out to him. But that he lifted your eyes above that, even for that moment when you said, give me eternal sight. You're reading his word. So you were calling unto him. You were holding him to his promises, like literally reading them in the word, calling unto him his own words, repeating his own words back to you.
Yes.
And he said, and you're calling out, okay, you said you will give me an eternal vision, an eternal sight. I need that now. And he looked up and he was faithful to that. And something you didn't share, but I know this about you and your daughter, is that Lily has smiled from the day she was born. Like, you guys would not believe this baby as a newborn. And now I know my little babies, when they fall asleep, they kind of do that like little, and you're like, is that gas? Or what are you dreaming? Like, what's going on? But Lily, every day that she's been alive, has had just this huge smile on her face. And I think Chelsea's phone is probably full of just pictures of Lily smiling. And I know I've seen probably hundreds of them. And in the middle of most of her life, she has been in excruciating pain and pressure and flu and all kinds of, it's just been one thing after another. And I know people say, oh, my kids are always sick. You know, Lily has really been sick and in pain most of her life, but she smiled through every day of that.
Every day, smiling through pain.
And it's just so cool that
God has that for us.
Yeah. And just share the parallel of that. You know, I know we just kind of laid it out there. But
and watching her smile through pain every single day. She's in pain. She can't hear. She's hurting. She can't even lay down like side to side. She can't get comfortable. And she looks at us and she smiles. And it makes me teary because that's what God has for us. That's what our good Father has for us. He has us smiling through pain. Yeah. If we fix our eyes on him, if we can look at him and know he loves us, we can smile.
Yeah.
We have to find it.
Yeah.
The biggest question I had throughout all of this is like, where are you? What now, God? Like, when is this going to end? When can I feel you?
Right.
You know, and the answer for that was whenever I'm done having my tantrum, whenever I'm willing to receive a hug from my good Father, you know, whenever I'm willing to listen.
Yeah. You know, Psalm 23, this is a very famous verse or passage in the Bible, but, you know, it talks about, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Like, those are strong words. The valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah.
I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Because you are with me, I won't fear the circumstances. I'm not going to get stuck in the brokenness and keep focusing on them. It's not, even if my circumstances don't change, I'm still in the valley of the shadow of death. I don't have to be afraid.
Right.
I don't have to have fear and anxiety and worry, because you are with me, and I know that in all things, Romans 8, right? In all things, you work for the good
Yeah.
of those who love you. And so we have to really rely on those promises.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be afraid because you're with me. I'm not on my own trying to figure this out. You haven't abandoned me. You are right here with me. And I think the Lord's been really good just in hearing just the little times that He has said, okay, you're doubting whether I'm with you. I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
I am right here with you. Let me show you how I'm right here. And I'm so in tune with what you're going through. And that this is a valley that we are walking through. You are walking through the valley. Now, we don't get to determine how long the valley is or how wide the valley is. But the truth is the fact that it's a valley means there's a mountain on the other side.
Right.
And that there are things that we could never see from the mountaintop that we can only see once we're in the valley.
Totally.
And so just I know you've already alluded to this, but just can you articulate in just a sentence or two, what have you seen in God in the valley that you are walking in right now?
What have I seen in God in the valley?
Or maybe not, maybe it's a different side of Him that you had known, but that you're experiencing.
Oh my gosh, just how much He relentlessly loves us. Like, that makes me teary answering it because it's so true. And this isn't just a story that's 3 months old. I've been walking through this for a couple years, so it's much longer than what I have even shared today, just the mountains and valleys. And my husband's been through 3-4 different jobs, and it's been really, really, really challenging. But in every single valley, God has met us up close and personally. And the stories I shared today, those are just 2. Angie, There's so many more. And I know you've walked with me and you've gotten to hear so many of them, and you've been a part of some of them. And it's just been incredible to know God in this very personal, real, beautiful way. God is close to the brokenhearted. And in my experience, He's never been closer to me when I'm brokenhearted. Like, being broken gives way for God to fill the cracks. My life is creating this amazing mosaic where God has pieced it all together. And in my head, I have this picture of maybe how it would look or maybe where He was going when He'd give us a glimpse of the future. But every time He breaks that glass and pieces it together in a most beautiful, unique way, unique to me. And He has that for everyone.
Right.
And it's so encouraging to know that. But it doesn't mean my faith won't be shaken. But I'm so glad it is, because every time it is, He shows up in this way that just makes it even stronger, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe next time it'll last 5 days, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
yeah.
That's really good. All right, so I guess just, I know you shared this in your breakout session. You got very real and shared a lot more, even detail, and shared with the women more of the revelation that the Lord gave to you and more manifestations of His presence in your life at that. But in walking away from that, for the women who left the doors of the room where you just shared your life and the truth with them, what was the thing that you hoped that they took away from it the most? Like the one thing, the nugget that they left there, being able to always look back and say,
anytime there is breakdown, there's bound to be breakthrough, as long as our eyes are fixed on Him and willing. We got to keep fighting, you know. Despair may define our worldly circumstance, but that word will never define my relationship with Christ, ever. And so there will be despair in this world, and I don't know when and if and how it will change. But the one thing that's unchanging is that God relentlessly loves me and has good for me. So I think a takeaway is just for people to look and find and ask God, what is good? Show me. Remove the scales from my eyes, because I want to see. I want to be happy. I don't want to walk around with this heavy burdened load. I want to be light, even if my circumstances are ugly, you know?
It's really good. Well, Chelsea, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for saying yes to coming. And I know whenever we first talked about you coming back to Wyoming to share just your love and just be with these ladies again, and to even be willing to say, yeah, I'd like to speak again. You didn't know at that time, that was months ago, you didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, no idea.
But as we've gotten closer to the date, how the Lord said, no, I just want you to share what you're going through right now and how you see me and my goodness in it. And that's not easy. It's not easy to just be completely vulnerable and to let people into the brokenness in our lives. And so I just want to thank you for having the courage and the bravery to step up and do that. And throughout the whole retreat, we talked about what it takes to be brave, and it does take knowing that God is good, that God loves me, and that He is with me, and then focusing our eyes on Him so that we're with Him too. And I think you have beautifully displayed all of those things, and you've gotten to walk through those. You're walking through those now and having to rely on those things. And in that, it's made you brave. And so I just appreciate you coming and sharing your heart and your story and encouraging all of us and building all of our faith in those things, that God is good.
Yeah. And
that He does love us, even when we don't feel like it, and that He's with us, and we can enter His courts, and we can be with Him in worship. And so thank you for that. Thank you for painting that picture for us.
Glad to.
Real way.
It's fun.